It is. We're hot and we're live.
We're hot and live.
Hot and live.
Good morning to everyone in person and on Zoom. If you're in person, Mark's selling Girl Scout cookies, the leftovers. For
Just
those,
but they're not crumbs, they're full cookies.
they're
They're full cookies, not half-eaten bags. They're just leftovers.
4 for $1.
I know. I was saying, you have to order from like all the Girl Scouts I know, so we've got so many cookies.
Yes.
We should have a lot left, but
My
we
waistline
don't.
is
It's weird.
my waistline is showing the cookie season for sure.
At least you have the good ones.
Okay, let's get started. Book club today hosted by Academy Mortgage right after this meeting in the front room. And Academy has provided the book. So this is we're only going over chapter 2. So it's not too late if you haven't joined yet.
Chapter 2 is so good.
Chapter 2 is really
So
good. It
good.
really makes you think about things. So even if you haven't read it, if you haven't come yet, but if you want to, just come right after this and we'll get you a book. And there's one more free book. Okay. You might have to buy your own, but worth reading. Such a good book for life and business. So you don't have to sign up. You just show up in the front room, 11 o'clock. Okay, next up, this is today. This is not a Keller Williams thing, but Rick Gray in his Rick Gray International Coaching is presenting on AI today. And they have a guest speaker, Eric Post, who is an AI developer and is going to be doing a really good presentation on AI in real estate. So if you want to go to that, just do the barcode there. It is free and it's great. Rick Ray is a great coach. And so I'm sure if he has a guest speaker lined up, it should be good.
Should be good.
So,
I'm just supporting Rick because he supports our office. He's coming. When's he coming again? Next
May.
May, so yeah.
Except May's really soon now. May's
Yeah.
like in a couple of weeks.
I
I think like around May 10th or 11th, Rick Gray will be back in person. And so if you wanted to try out his coaching, we'll have some complimentary spots so you guys can try out his
Yeah.
coaching too.
He's gonna come and spend hopefully a day at the
Mhm.
office.
Yeah, but this is actually tonight, 6 o'clock. So,
And when you click on it, you get an AI assistant who immediately pops up and says, "Can I help you?"
Mhm.
really,
Really?
robots. It's actually taught by robots.
Mhm. Did you guys know? Fun fact: you guys know that Rick Ray's actually a robot?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, first gen. It's amazing. Next world.
It's wild.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Austin will also post that link, or I think it's in our Facebook group too.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't.
He's not a robot. He's a machine. That water thing. I mean,
Yeah, he does those.
He's
cool
something
punches
else.
like a machine.
something else.
Okay, next slide. Austin's class. So we've switched this up a little bit. It's an hour later than it was. Wednesdays 2 to 3.
We really
Awesome.
just like to keep you guys on your toes.
I know. Austin's
We're
going to be
changing, it's like-
teaching a tech workshop. And workshop means bring your laptop,
Mhm.
follow along, come out with something tangible. But Austin, what are you teaching everyone this week?
So going down the line again of all the applets, the next one is tasks. So we're gonna go over just like how to figure out tasks, like how to set those up, how to manage them, how to see them. They've had some updates recently on how the tasks work. So it's a lot easier either through command on your browser or through the mobile app. Yeah, it's really nice because you can get push notifications, emails, to remind you to do certain things or have them automated. So we'll kind of show you how that looks and how it works.
Cool. And once you get those dialed in, that can be your like
Yeah.
daily to-do list, right? Once you have those working well for you. So go to that class, and then Austin can also answer other questions, or if there's things in command that you're curious about, he can answer other tech questions during that workshop as well. And then this is a good one. Peter's not in the room to look at his really funny picture. But our very own Peter Clark is going to be teaching his pricing strategies on Thursday here at 11 a.m. And a lot of you know, but Peter is the master at CMAs and spreadsheets and pricing. And it's a lot more challenging right now to run comps than it is in a different market, right? So Peter will give his tips on what to do if you don't have enough. Do you go wider? Do you change parameters? He'll give you some examples. If you have a real life house that you need to run comps on for a client, bring it. And Peter he needs some live examples. So bring your computers,
He said, "Bring your
clients
computers and an address."
and an address.
Everybody.
And an
Yeah.
address.
Yeah.
We'll help you create a CMA for an address.
So yeah, Peter is so good. This is his specialties. So if you have never been to one of his pricing classes, for sure go. And then even if you have, this market's probably different, right? So 11 o'clock, you don't need to register. You just show up here on Thursday.
I just want to say, like, there's so many different ways to price a house that even if you think you really, really know what you're doing, you should come and check this out. Because his way may be completely different than how you do it, and it might make you better at what you do. Because pricing, like from what I'm seeing in the marketplace, the single most important component to a house selling quickly and for a lot of money is price. Those who hit the price sell quick. Those who miss, they labor. And it's not just like, oh, wait till we get the right price. It like starts trickling down below that. So
right. And
Plus
he's
he has
very,
40 years of doing it.
right.
yeah,
And he's very data driven. So it makes it a lot harder. It's not your opinion then.
yeah, it's hard to
the
refute.
data and the market
Mhm.
driving the price. So good stuff. I wish he was here to laugh at his little picture.
I think that's why he didn't come.
He didn't come just
Yeah.
for this.
Just to,
Okay, Red Day is coming up in just a few weeks. So we announced this last week, but if you missed it, we are doing our Red Day at the Rebuilding Center. Which do you have the other slide, Austin, or just this one today? It's okay if we don't. Oh, there we go. So the Rebuilding Center is in Portland on North Mississippi. And what it does is people can donate different building materials. So it helps the climate and like the environment by people donating and reusing building materials. And then it helps empower homeowners because there was a big gap in affordability as far as home maintenance, right? We all think about a home and house affordability with like the purchase because that's the industry we're in, but the upkeep is a really big component of that house affordability and being able to keep up a house. So they sell the building materials for lower prices. So it's a great organization. We're going to be actually like doing labor in their warehouse, and it's a great time for us to all volunteer in the community together. Sydney made it will be out soon. It will be out soon, a link to register because we need to order t-shirts for Red Day. So if you pre-register for Red Day by the end of the week, and the Eventbrite link will have a t-shirt size preference, we will order you a t-shirt. So you have to order them a little bit far in advance. So yeah, but that's kind of the urgency of the end of the week. But please register, please come. It is such a good opportunity. It's the one day a year that all Keller Williams offices across the world shut down to give back within their community. So
yeah,
yes.
labor.
Oh, morning. I think we're gonna do like, is it like 9 to 12-ish or 9 to 1?
Lunch is to follow. I'm figuring out.
Yes, and so yeah, there'll be like
It'll be near the
a team building, like lunch, happy hour, bonding afterwards. So, oh yeah, so not like block it off in your calendar for the morning, right? So even if you do have things to do later in the day, we can start the day together and get that going. You want to add
Do we know
anything
what the
about
name
it?
of that restaurant is?
Cameron's
Remember it?
friends.
Cameron said he's got it locked up.
Yes,
Yeah, he
Cameron,
told me
if you're
about
on,
that.
yeah, what's the name of that place? Oh, is Cameron on? Nobody knows. There's
Cameron's buddy's
there's
place.
a cool, trendy restaurant bar right near there that Cameron's friend owns that we're gonna go
Yeah,
to.
Cameron leased it.
We're not
to
cool,
someone
so
and
we
they
don't know the
become
name of
friends.
the
And
cool,
He
trendy
said,
place.
he said he would open it for us
Yeah,
early.
Early for us. For you. For you.
Yeah.
so, yes, so it is planned, even though we don't know the details. What is that place called? We'll post the details and Sid will post the link, but do register with your t-shirt size so we can order those. Because it is fun if everyone wears their red shirts and takes pictures and makes a big fun day of it. Okay, and mark your calendars, May 11th. And like the office will be closed, like the staff will be there in Keller Williams tradition. Okay, next up, Austin.
Yes.
Will you show everyone something in command today?
Yes. Okay, so this is cool. I like this. This is fun. So when you guys are in command, there's a really cool tool that some of you may have explored. It's honestly, it's one of the ones that it's one of my favorite things in command because it's so easy to just tinker around and just not like you can just lose time through this feature. And I want to show you it. Let me switch the camera real quick. Okay, so over on when you log into command, on the left-hand side, all of your applets, you have referrals right here, which I'll also talk about in a couple weeks, a little more in depth, but I wanted to show you something really cool. So in the referrals tab, you can look up any Keller Williams agent in the world through this tab right here. Think about this as your internal LinkedIn, start making connections, have a network. I don't have anyone as of right now. I have some intentions to. I just talked about it with someone yesterday. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I was talking to someone who was saying, like, I have a goal, right? Like, I have a personal goal of how many transactions I want to do a year. And the person I was talking to, they were like, do you know how much income I made by referrals last year? And I was like, how much? He's like, your goal. Like, and so I was like, oh, okay, that's a good point. And being someone who has a lot of friends across the country through just going out of state for college and stuff, this is something that'd be really useful. So once you go in here, if you don't have anyone in your network, you can just click this Grow My Network button. Otherwise, you can go over to the Maps tab up here in the top. But if you click Grow My Network, it's going to take you to Maps. It's going to ask for your location. But when you go in here, it's going to give you a map of the whole world. And we're just going to focus on the US right now. But I'm going to zoom into a very particular spot, which I'm trying to find a different place every time I go in here. But earlier I was looking at Baton Rouge for fun. And so when I zoom into Baton Rouge, the first thing you're going to see is these numbers. All of these numbers indicate how many transactions have happened by Keller Williams agents in this area. So in this general vicinity, there's been 245 transactions here. If I zoom in closer or I click on it, it's going to zoom in and it's going to start expanding those numbers or start blowing those numbers out and giving kind of more fine-tuned numbers. And you'll see little dots here and there for actual locations. On the right-hand side, it's a list of all of the agents in Baton Rouge on the screen right now that have had transactions in the last 12 months. It randomizes just for fairness. So don't feel like, oh, I'm not an A. What the heck? Like, my name doesn't start with A. I'm not going to be at the top in Portland. That's not an issue. By default, it's set to random. But what's the cool little tool here is if you have, let's say you do have someone who is moving to Baton Rouge and you want to find an agent that works for them. You can go in here and you can actually start using the filter option. When you click on this, it's going to give you a lot of different things here based off of closed units, listings sold, buyer side leases, and average listing price, things like that. Or you can also sort. When you click sort, it will switch it to either like closed units in this area or closed total units. I'm just going to say in this area. And then it sorts based off of who's had the most closed units. So I can look at Trey Willard. I can see that in this area, he's had 135 closed units in the last 12 months, 128.5 million in volume. And I'm like, all right, let's see what, let me reach out to Trey. You can see his phone number, his email address. But let's say you do need a luxury agent or you want to work with a team. There's Julie Jenkins. You can see she has a luxury agent tag right above. It's kind of hard to see on the projector. But then you can also see that she has the Julie Jenkins group name right here. When I expand it, I can see all of her stats, or I can click on her group name and it'll pull up the entire team. And I can reach out to certain people on that team. I can see their stats, everything right here. The last thing I want to show you is people who may be part of a group, and so like one of the specializations, whether it's Keller Williams Young Professionals, military, luxury, commercial. You can at the very top, like for me, maybe I want to work with just other Keller Williams Young Professionals. I can click on KWYP and then I can click apply filter and I can find that there are 4 KWYP agents here. And I can reach out to these agents and talk more with them and maybe send referrals that way. That's the advantage of joining those kind of associations.
And this is how small Keller Williams is, that Michelle Black Murph, I met her at the Keller Williams event and we became friends and met. Like, really?
Oh, really?
Dead serious,
Oh my gosh.
That's how, like, the referral, I mean, it seems like it's so big, right? We have so many agents, but it's really cool to get connected. Will you show what it looks like when you click on their bio?
Yes. So, and this is important for you guys because if you haven't been into your profile and set up your profile, this is why that's important. When I go click on Michelle's name, it's going to pull up her Connect profile. She has a photo. She has the contact info. She has years with KW. She has her stats enabled so I can see all of her little statistics here, but I don't see a bio. That's one, not a red flag, but that, if you know her, that's why it's not. But
Because if you're refer to someone and they didn't take the time to write their bio, I
Mhm.
don't know exactly who you want to refer to, right? Also, it's really important to show why you put the languages you speak, because people might be looking to refer to somebody who speaks that specific language. So if you
Yeah.
speak another language, you want to make sure it's in your profile.
So if I say French, because we're in Baton Rouge, click apply, I can see 3 people who speak French in this area.
James.
So I can reach out to Jane and say, hey, I have someone who speaks French that would like to work with a French speaking agent. And I can reach out to Jane that way. So if you speak a second language, typically if in the onboarding, I should have asked, or I would just know that you speak a second language. And I would put that, I'd give that to Scott Leroy and they would put that in your account. If you do not see that somewhere, let me know and we can check and make sure that's there. Like one of the good examples is Grace Kim was, you know, we've said it a couple times that she joined us. She speaks Korean, and within was it a week? A day, she had a referral through Keller Williams because she spoke Korean. So it's really useful. And then the last thing I wanted to show is this broadcast referral. If you don't know, if you're not, you know, you see these 3 people and they're all great options, you can click broadcast referral and that will, you can send this referral to all of them at once. And then and you can make a deadline of how long do they have to reply. First come, first serve,
And
essentially.
then show them how they would connect with that person. Like, so say you want to think about places you might need a referral to. So maybe like where you went to college or something.
Yeah.
So you might find that place, but for now, let's just do Baton Rouge. Show everyone how you would click to make that person in your network.
Yeah, so you can click this little button right here, that little plus icon. That's going to ask an invitation to like and send a personalized message. That's going to send them an invitation to join your network, essentially, and just say, hey, I have family in Baton Rouge, whatever it is, and you know, I'd love to reach out and be a referral partner. Let me know when you want to talk or Zoom, and we can see what we can do to connect. Whatever you want to say. But just keep in mind, one thing that has been a question is, can you set up a referral agreement through this? No, that still has to be done. We still have that on the KW forms, the referral agreement paper that you do have to fill out and submit to Kelly and stuff.
Actually, you can submit that to Robbie.
Submit it to
Send
Robbie.
Robbie. She can sign it and then she can track it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Cool, thank you.
Sorry, will you show everybody how you update your profile?
Yes. So it's really simple. Just click on your name at the very top and then go to profile. From here, you'll be able to do, you know, your bio. Here you can have your contact information. I don't have any stats, so I just decided to have those toggled off. But if you wanted to toggle them, you just click the edit profile button, and this is where you would change things. And you can add social media handles. This is where you would toggle those stats. And then if you want to know where you can find these banners, I found it to be a little, what is the word? Temperamental, just because like for some reason, if you don't have the right dimensions, it stretches it. It doesn't crop it, which ideally you think it would. But these banners, you can actually find a library of these banners on our website. If you go to KWPP agents under technology, there is a section called Command Hero Images. And this is like for your websites, like for the front page of your website, for your profile, things like that. You can click on this and it'll give you a bunch of different options. And one of them is the KW Connect profile banners. And they're the exact dimensions. I put them there 1920 by 300. So if you go into Canva, you can use those dimensions if you want to create your own custom, but there are 4 specific ones that you can just grab and plug and play. Yeah.
The other ones are for the website, right?
Yeah. So the other ones are for the like homepage, internal and external outdoor photos that you can add to your like the 5 that you can have on your homepage. Yeah.
Yeah, can you go back to the referral page really quick?
Yep.
So you were showing us how to like send an invitation to connect, to be a part of their network, but if you want to reach out to someone specifically with the intent to send a referral, is that where you would click a new referral if you just wanted to send it to one person?
So a new referral, you can click new referral and find an agent. Let's see, if you click new referral, this is where like,
It will still send a referral to them.
yeah,
If you, it's just, we need the real form signed for like commission purposes.
Sure.
So if you do this, it does send them a notification, but you don't have to do this. You could just call them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, this is kind of like just if you wanted to have a little additional, like we have it in writing almost through the referrals tab. But a lot of times either you can send the referral request through here, or you can just click on their name directly and just contact them. It's up to you.
And I would recommend, just as a practical use, that if you send referrals to a client, I always try to find 2 and sometimes 3, and I call them and have a conversation with them and just ask them about their business and how they have their business set up and how many deals they've done in the last year, in the last 6 months. Are they familiar with these neighborhoods? How many times have they been in the neighborhoods? Because I don't want to refer someone that is not familiar with the locations that my clients want to be in. Otherwise they go and they're not happy about it. So you'll raise your happiness level with your client if you take the extra time to actually call who you're going to be sending your clients to. That's the least you should do.
Good tip.
Yeah, and just I already put the microphone over there, but you can also see trends of where people are going from certain cities if you want to. So you can see where people are going out of Portland and which cities. And if you wanted to reach out to agents in those areas like St. Louis, San Diego, Phoenix, whatever, you can say, hey, I've noticed there's been some common trends.
Can I go the opposite way? Can I reverse prospect that?
Up here, you can say sent or received. So receive referrals and who's going in.
That's probably the super valuable one right there.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, a lot of Seattle, Austin, Boise. So just some little tips on places you might want to find partners in.
Yeah, that's the smart way.
Cool. Thank you, Austin. If you have any other questions about referrals, reach out to Austin. And I know Austin showed it in the US, but Chris and I looked up a referral in Tokyo, and it was like just the same thing. See the 6 different Keller Williams offices, zoom in there. You're going to filter for English speaking, right? And it was shockingly easy, even internationally. So it's it's the exact same process. Oh yeah.
I know Keller Williams, as a franchise, 1 of the 6. He wants to access with the Keller mortgage, and people overseas take advantage of Keller mortgage.
I don't know what the mortgage requirements are across.
I have no
borders.
idea.
And they're
Yeah.
and they just got bought out by a company called Mutual Omaha. Probably heard of them.
Mhm.
And they're I know, right? Huge company. I don't know though if they've been set up in other countries or not yet. So it's hard to say.
We can find
We're having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
This week.
Actually, tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Day
Yeah.
after tomorrow. Today's Thursday.
Yeah.
Typically, the way it will work, I mean, there's some local mortgage folks that they put in that will do foreign investors that buying real estate here, and they put 50% down in cash, and they'll finance the other 50%.
Okay, we'll see some more.
Keller Mortgage does some, there are some mortgage brokers that do that.
Yeah, we'll find.
Yeah, we'll find out. And then just to kind of add to that in case other people have questions. So Mutual of Omaha purchased Keller Mortgage, and now Keller Mortgage is a division basically of Mutual of Omaha. So they're going to be doing special pricing programs and things like that through the Keller Mortgage division that we're finding more information
Warren Buffett.
about. Oh my gosh. All right.
I believe he does.
Part of it, maybe.
Well, they have far more products than Keller Mortgage did.
Yeah.
So it's gonna work a lot better for us.
Yeah.
We'll still
Mhm.
get great pricing because we go direct to the source. They keep some of the packages of loans that they put together.
Mhm.
And so it was a good move, great move.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you don't usually.
Hmm.
Several insurance companies do it there.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, let's get to our main presenter today. So we have Kerry Steinmetz, the VP of Developer Services at Fidelity. And he recently attended the 2023 International Builder Show. And, oh, right, you're good. He can sit over here.
Yeah.
And so he has some really great
Like-
information that he took away from that to share with you guys all today on just the future of home design and as far as building design. So thank you for being here, Kerry.
Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate the invitation. So I was one of the lucky ones from Fidelity that got to go down to Vegas when we left Kelly here, working hard in Portland. So this presentation was a little bit longer. Kelly saw it before, and so there's a bunch of statistics, kind of the boring part, and we're gonna skip over those. But I did bring you some handouts here that's kind of got some statistics about what's going on in the new construction market, here in Portland. It's pretty,
Down to.
pretty robust. Let's just jump past all this stuff because this will take, too long. So, some of the big themes that we, saw at the show, lots of small ideas. Primarily what was emphasized in almost all of the presentations that I saw is most builders are trying to drive down the cost of housing. And the way that they are primarily doing that is they're trying to go smaller and basically have a home live much bigger in less square footage. So there were lots of small ideas like this. This is kind of an example of a lot of them put together. The bike there rolls under the stairwell. The steps provide storage. Lots of space-saving storage ideas. Here again, just we saw a lot of like smaller appliances that fit into smaller areas, more condensed space, making more out of your square footage. Oh, I think I didn't make it all the way through the stats here. So we can probably go over a few of these here. So new homes with 4 bedrooms. This is coming, the number here is coming up, but again, the square footage is heading back down.
Is that important?
No, these are national numbers out, things from the show here. 3 full bathrooms, trended down a little bit there. 3-car garage coming down significantly across the US. I say in Portland, what we're seeing a lot of, specifically in a lot of our HB 2001, the middle housing, a lot of our builders are starting to leave off the garage now and providing more parking. This is kind of a societal shift one. Primarily what this is showing is new home buyers are getting older than what we've traditionally had. If you go back over the years and stuff like that, people are not so much buying a new home in their 20s, they're moving more into their 30s before they buy. This tells you a little bit about what's going on with our national demographics. In the different age brackets, as you can see, as you kind of get to be over 60, that's where a lot of our population is moving. In the kind of prime home buying areas, 30 to 40, we're up there a little bit, but empty nesters are going to be down pretty significantly here.
Sorry. And then a
Linda. Linda?
She's on Zoom.
Oh, she did not mean to do that. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see here. Governor Kotek actually is kind of working on this issue too, of trying to get more homes built here in the Oregon market. But as you can see, we've been trending down pretty significantly on the number of new homes that we're bringing online nationally. These are the top undersupplied markets in the US, and surprisingly, Portland was not on there. This shows, I think what you guys were just talking about a little bit about migration. For one of the first times, Oregon is an out-migration state now where we have more people leaving than we have coming in. Top 3 design trends. Talked a lot about health, not healthcare. So in the new construction market, this was a really big one that we saw. Walking spaces as amenities for subdivisions. So your traditional clubhouse, kind of party room that you might see in some large subdivisions is going away because walking trails is one of the #1 amenities that people want to see in new subdivisions. Connection with outdoors, biophilic design, just trying to bring the indoors or the outdoors in. We've seen a lot of that trend over the last few years of where you kind of have seamless spaces between the inside and the outside. That's continuing on in the trends for this year. And then just 80% of the respondents in the American Home Study are looking for their homes to provide more mental, emotional, and physical well-being. One of the things during COVID, we were all really living in our homes much more than we are now. And kind of as we kind of come back to work, the shift has been kind of, people say when they get home, when they get to their home, they want kind of a calming feeling of coming home from a work day, because we don't spend as much time in there as we did over the last few years. Bigger, not better. I talked briefly about this one earlier. I'm seeking well-planned, not necessarily larger spaces. So kitchens that act like Swiss Army knives. One of the things that on this that we're seeing is, even though the kitchen's getting smaller, it has more amenities in it. So more with less space. Offices that are very transformational. One of the things I can tell you is, that traditional office that at least a lot of us grew up with, of having the desk and two people sitting out in front of you, that's completely gone. These workspaces are getting much smaller. Oftentimes they're in little nooks and crannies, and they also do double duty as providing other uses. And then primary baths are becoming more luxurious, but not enormous. So again, more with less. 45% of the respondents in the home study said that they were looking for a better equipped kitchen. So this was a way of getting less with, or getting more with less. There was a big emphasis on the elimination of hallways, and kind of how we work with this is when you go up to this top of the stairs, and instead of having a hallway or kind of just a corridor for getting to the bedrooms up there, a lot of builders have made that a kind of like a landing space. So that can either be a playroom, kind of like a family gathering area, perhaps a home office, or where the kids study. No walled eating spaces, again, makes the space look much larger, where you just have it seamless from the kitchen to the island to the dining space. Islands that flow into the next room, and then offices that are nooks. So we'll just take you through a couple of different examples. So here is kind of that little resting place or sitting area at the top of the stairs. So it's helping to not waste as much square footage up there, because it has a double purpose. A lot of one wall kitchens we saw. So providing just the one wall with the island in front of it. Again, this is less square footage, but a lot more features built in there. Here's another example of it. Really popular design trend for this year, the one wall kitchen. Here's some kind of multi-use examples, pantries that can kind of convert into offices. We've actually seen several builders build these very, very small, almost closet-sized rooms off the kitchen, and that can either be adapted into a walk-in pantry, or it can be like a very small working space to use as a home office. It can also, oftentimes they have a door, it can be like a Zoom room or something like that. Give you an option there. Edited but not extravagant. We're kind of moving in a more contemporary aesthetic. We've had contemporary design kind of begin to take a design lead here. So this is what one of the presenters said, and I thought this was really funny. The Coco Chanel saying, before you leave the house, take off one accessory. So just kind of powering down your house, specifically in cost-saving ways. Let color carry the weight in architectural expression, and materiality to successful architectural design. So this is kind of an example of something that might be overdone. So those dormers up there can add a lot of cost to the home. So just really kind of paring it down, making it a simpler design, trying to cut costs. Three top compromises buyers would be willing to make to afford a new home. Number one, smaller house, less square footage. Simpler, more basic interiors were number two. Fewer exterior amenities. And then as we kind of move down the list a little bit further from the urban core, less expensive materials, smaller lot, modular prefab. You don't see that so much in in Portland. More energy efficient features and denser development. These are the most likely features for a typical home. Ranked by people that were shopping in the new home market. So walk-in closets in the primary bedroom, number one. Laundry rooms for many of the past years that I've been to the home show, laundry rooms rank really high for a feature that are wanted in new construction. I think that kind of comes out of, if you're in an apartment, oftentimes you don't have a separate laundry room. So that's great feature to add. Low E windows, great room, central island still really popular, efficient lighting, programmable thermostat, pretty hard to sell a new home now without that one. This one came on really strong this year. People are demanding 9-foot ceilings, specifically on the main level. That was one of the ones that kind of moved up significantly. And we have started to see a lot of 9-foot ceiling design. Energy Star appliances, having a front porch, 2-car garage. This one I see built a lot in Portland, and it seems to be having pretty high demand, but a water closet or a closet for the toilet space. We'll just kind of skip through some of these rest and keep going on here. So this one demonstrates the most wanted features between over there on your left, what a first-time buyer is looking for versus a repeat buyer in new construction. And the highlights there show the ones that are kind of matching. So laundry was high up there as well. Lighting, ceiling fans, really popular. Hardwood flooring on the main level, one of the top getters there as well. Walk-in pantry and patio is what's common to both of these. Biggest impact of COVID on buyer preferences. So we've seen a lot with more energy efficient features, more community exercise outdoors. Home office came on really strong in the COVID area. Better equipped kitchens, water conserving features, fewer formal rooms and more flex spaces and open floor plans. These are probably no surprise to you here. So this is just going to take you through some of the pictures of some of the things that I felt pretty interesting as I was there. So this actually won an award. They had a lot of interesting concepts in these kind of fire pits that are outside. As you can see, that one kind of has some artificial timbers there and stuff like that. But this was one of the award winners. This one I thought was very Portland-esque. It's a sink that you can put in your garage and you can wash your bikes there. Probably one of the more this company also had a sink like this that was a dog sink. That one was a little bit more popular at the show. I thought this one was a little bit more Portland, but the dog sink, really popular feature. And that's another thing that we've seen is incorporating your pet into the design of the home. A lot of people treat their pet as family, so you're gonna have a little.
Well, let's look at the window.
This one was a clothes cleaning closet. So you put your clothes in there. Works very similar to the way dry cleaning does, and you just put your clothes in there. You close the door, and it will clean your clothes for you. So that one's pretty interesting. These minimalist ranges. So you buy these. This one's gas, and this one is electric. But to kind of minimalize the way the range hood looks, you just buy these little pads, and they actually fit directly on the countertop. So it has a kind of a little bit of a sleeker feel. This one was a really popular one. This was a new look that I had not really seen before, where they actually take the countertop. This was a pretty high-end feature, but they take the countertop and bring it down around on the front of the kitchen, rather than in addition to the kind of the waterfall that we've seen pretty predominantly here. This one, another pet idea. There's a little foot thing here that you just press the footstool, the foot portion, and it will fill the dog water bowl for you. Another really popular one that we've seen over the years is I'll show you kind of where that moved, but the last several years it was kind of the doggy space underneath the stairs where you could have the dog bed out of the way. There was a lot of surveys, especially a lot of older people like that, because it keeps them from kind of tripping over the dog bed and dog balls and stuff like that. You kind of have them up out of the way. This was the really, really popular one for under the stairs this year. We saw this repeated over and over. This is a pretty large one. A lot of the other ones that I saw were much smaller. But again, this is using, you're getting more with less space. So the wine room is kind of been just tucked underneath the stairwell. And almost every single one that we saw had this glass finish on it as well. So you could kind of look in there and see the wine collection. This was a super popular feature this year. Whole home tech solutions. Every year they've come out with new tech stuff. Just kind of like a builder grade hub. What we've obviously seen the market going into is voice commands rather than having some kind of switch or phone that you need to use it. So you're just talking to a hub. Some of the top features, obviously security, smoke and CO detectors, thermostats is almost, you can't really sell a new home without some kind of smart thermostat, speakers, blinds and lights, and kind of what they're doing now is they're curating bundles. So you would come home and tell your home, I want to be in relaxation mode. And that would change the whole lighting system. I mean, it could be multiple lights throughout the great room of putting them in relaxation mode. That may mean that the speakers play a certain kind of music for you. And again, when you come down stairs in the morning, you might say, I want wake up mode. The lights may kind of begin to slowly come up where wakes you up a little bit. And your music, you may start to jam out or whatever, but it's kind of these bundles. And so when you give it the command, it'll do multiple things at one time. This was the color of the year, and no one likes this. It's a kind of like a pinkish red sandy stone color, but several paint manufacturers said that this is the color you're going to see a lot more of. It's a much deeper color than we've seen in past years. And what I've got so far is it's not a big hit here in Portland, but it certainly took the show. So, but the whole color palette this year is going into what they call complex neutrals. So it's kind of these earth tones are very neutral colors, but they just added a little bit more depth and stuff like that, as you see here by the example, kind of like a beigey with a little bit more tone in it. Here's another one. This is blank. It was called blank canvas. It's a white with kind of a little bit of gray mixed into it. A little bit, like I said, more complex design here. Probably this is no surprise. The #1 home design was the modern farmhouse. This is really popular in Portland, and it took the show away again this year. This was the most awarded item that has ever come out of the home show. It won more awards for a single product than we've ever seen before. It's a new thing, and what we'll actually do is it takes the place of where a hot water heater is, but it has 3 functions. It's a hot water heater. It has a generator in it, so if your power goes off, it will be able to generate the home. And it also has a component that it can help heat the home at like an HVAC system in it. So it's, again, very condensed into one appliance, but it does multiple different features. And generators seem to be something that's definitely coming up on the buyer's list with some of the natural disasters and stuff like that we've had a hard time providing power. Sliding doors were really, really popular this year. I couldn't find a picture whenever I got home, but a lot of them look like this. So what the sliding doors are moving into, and this purely looks, they have this 3/4 light panel design. So on the bottom of the door, it's doesn't have glass in it. We've got a couple other ones. These really very large sliding doors became really, really popular. And what they seem to be replacing is those kind of accordion doors, which are typically very expensive. And again, builders are looking for ways to try to reduce cost. So instead of these accordion doors, they're just getting sliders that have very wide openings to kind of give you that indoor-outdoor feel. Here's another one, kind of super large slider to get you into that outdoor space. Setting yourself apart in the market. These were some of the top kitchen designs that we saw. There's also kind of a specific kitchen show there that goes on at the same time. So curved and multi-height islands. I'll show you a couple examples of those. We are getting a little bit away from the waterfall edge and specifically rectangular type islands, and I'll show you what I mean here. Colored islands, blue and green were the most popular ones, and those are fairly deep colors. Butcher block countertops and islands are coming back again. They do require a lot of maintenance, but they've been really, really popular. The mixed countertops, the super clean lines are moving out a little bit with a little bit more millwork, slab backsplash, highly individualized backsplashes were really popular. And as a matter of fact, some builders are, again, as a cost saving measure, just leaving the backsplash off so that the home buyer can customize it however they want. And then I will just put it out to you, was gold, chrome, stainless, or gunmetal the most popular finish this year? Anybody want to? Gold.
Mixed.
You got it right there. It's actually a mix of gold and gunmetal. It's the most popular one. White is still in, but don't overdo it. And then custom range hoods were kind of like the luxury feature that's really popular. So let's just go through some of the countertops. So here's that mixed height curved island that you see here. These were really popular. Here is the colored island. Again, a lot of white. White was really popular in the kitchen, but when you bounce it out to the island, a little pop of color there. Butcher block, like I said, was coming back in. These required a lot of maintenance, and one of the things that buyers were saying was, even though they're hard to maintain, that they just kind of still wanted them, and a lot of the comments was they would kind of replace them if they started to look a little worn after a while. So the slab backsplash where the counter and then the backsplash goes all the way up the wall as well. These are really, really popular, are really, really helpful in small kitchens, because when you have that continuous countertop with a backsplash, it makes the space look bigger when it's the same material. These are the bold kind of demonstration of the bold backsplashes. What we saw a lot of people starting to use as a backsplash was wallpaper. So you can have those really bold, bright colors that kind of pop back there, very individualized. But something that can be easily changed out, or like I said, the builder can leave it off completely. And then these custom ranges, these are not cheap, but these are kind of a little bit of a way to set yourself apart, make your house be a little bit more memorable to the homeowner. The must-have trends, cabinets all the way to the ceiling. We saw this over and over again. So you know, the fake plants that sit up there above your counters, those need to come down. And then, like I said, they're just putting cabinets that go all the way to the ceiling. We also saw a lot of studies that showed on the bottom level of the cabinets, just doing way more drawers than we have traditionally. There was a lot of drawer organizers that we saw and stuff like that. But it's a little bit easier to do like a drawer design than the one that has the doors on it. And then bespoke areas, super popular, and I'll show you some of the top trends here in some pictures. So these are cabinets all the way to the top. A lot of them did have glass at the top, as well as we saw a lot of them that had lighting up there. So it kind of threw some light out in the kitchen. Great for extra storage. And again, if we're trying to use less square footage, you know, primarily what goes up there is the things that you don't really use a whole lot, and you're just getting more storage space out of less square footage. Here's some of the drawer designs, and this was the number one, a drawer for your water bottles, yeah.
Y'all need that.
Yeah. We all seem to have that. I mean, I don't, every time I reach for one, about 5 of them fall on top of me. The bespoke areas, these were the top winners, obviously the beverage center. And these were just kind of areas that were close to the kitchen, but just outside the kitchen. So one of the things, kind of these bespoke areas, they allow for the chef of the kitchen to navigate in the kitchen, and these are areas for guests or family members where they can kind of do something in the kitchen without getting in that triangle of the main chef. Coffee bar, wine cellar, butler's pantry, baking nooks. Again, these are just kind of little cubby holes in the kitchen where you can, I'm not a baker, but you can kind of make a big mess in there. And when your guests come and arrive, these are oftentimes a little bit tucked away. And so you maybe not necessarily see that. And then prep kitchens and catering kitchens. These are definitely more high-end ideas. And kind of what they consist of is usually there will be a small area kind of back behind the kitchen where sometimes we've called it the messy kitchen and stuff like that. So it's an area that you really don't see. It's kind of tucked away, and that would be give you an area to kind of prep things and stuff like that, and still have that pristine, very clean kitchen when your guest comes over. And then a cake bar,
Like that.
so here's just a really small one. This one's got the beverage refrigerator there, wine storage, just a little area for you to go grab a glass of wine real quick and not necessarily have to go in the kitchen. And then bathrooms. This is an example of what is actually going out. So these very large tubs built in, and larger showers kind of in separate spaces. This would be something that you don't want to do. And instead you're looking at something like this. The standalone tub there and kind of combined in with a shower, again, kind of reducing down your square footage. But by far and away, these standalone tubs are, I mean, most builders that were saying, you know, you're not really going to sell a house unless you kind of have this style of tub rather than the one that we were just showing you there. I think we're getting down to close to the end here. Another popular feature in the bathroom was framed mirrors. So you know how traditionally we just kind of had those mirrors that went up there with no frames. This one adds a little bit of extra style at a kind of a low cost. And that is all I had for you. So those are some resources. And I do have, like I said, I do have some stats up here for you. Reach out to us if you have any questions. Appreciate you guys. I don't know if anybody wants to ask anything while I'm still here. So thank you for having us. Yeah.
Great info. Now we're gonna like thinking about all things like. Right? I'm like, oh, but it's great to know what the buildings are building and what people sort of want.
If any of you remember Randy Sebastian's song, it was not his, so he had that secondary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, everyone have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really good. I really like that.
That's great. I thought it was